Hello, everyone. I'm Jules, your practical mystic, empowering you to walk your mystical path with practical feet. So, we come to the end of a season. We come in the Northern Hemisphere, we're coming to the end of summer here in the next day or two. And in the Southern Hemisphere, we're coming to the end of the winter time and moving into a deepening in the north and an expanding in the south. And I bet that even if you've forgotten that this is happening, this change is happening, this equinox is coming upon us, that maybe you have felt this in your life in a couple of different ways. Often when we shift, years and years ago, when humans were more aligned with the seasons, when we lived closer to the earth and we could feel the shifts within our very cells, this was not a surprise to experience the shift within ourselves in this way. But since we have come into a time where we are spending less time in nature and have access to all foods at all times, mostly, we are living slightly farther apart from nature, and there are ways in which we can bring ourselves to back into alignment with all that is good and true and beautiful in the world. Because the things, the elements that exist in the world also exist in our very cells. And I could go on and on about that, and or how our body craves a connection to nature. And but as we see this in our own lives right now, I bet if you're watching this, just do a little check in with yourself and see if you have felt a couple of these different energy shifts in your own world. Has there been some sickness in your life, either you or your people around you, loved ones? It's very common for this time of year, and people attribute it to, for example, like the start of a school year. For some happens now, and or the start of a new job, and being exposed to different bacterial cultures from all these different people and who are coming from all these different places, and people attribute that to this time of year. Well, it also happens when we get sick, and you may notice yourself feeling a little off kilter, a little, your body maybe not vibrating at its highest during the change of the seasons, because what our energetic body is doing is sloughing off all the old ways that once served us very beautifully and greatly. And as we slough them off, we make room and we galvanize ourselves and we strengthen ourselves to be more fully ourselves into this coming season. This happens all the time, over and over. It's just like shedding skin. It's just like a snake shedding its skin. It's like us shedding our skin. We are shedding what no longer fits us. And there's not a negative spin on that. Those energies were absolutely perfect and great for the time that we're coming out of. And now, because we're stronger, different, we've shifted into an alignment more with ourselves. Now we don't need those energies, and so we move into something else. And so this manifests physically in our cells and in our bodies as sickness. And this happens to children a lot. They are in rapid transformation and rapid growth, and they are strengthening and strengthening. And you hear, the current medical methodology talks about, they're strengthening their immune systems. Well, yes, and they're strengthening every other system within them as well. And so that happens for us too. There's a wisdom that our body carries in every cell of our being that aligns itself with our environment and aligns itself with what the thoughts and the feelings that we have and that we allow ourselves to bring into our lives. And if we can choose to listen more deeply to what our heart is telling us, and if we can choose to listen more deeply to the intuition that we feel, align ourselves more closely with our passion and align ourselves more closely with our words and our actions. If we can choose to do this more and more each day, we will notice that we are sloughing off more of those energies that no longer fit us because we're strengthening ourselves more and more each day. You might also notice, perhaps you haven't been getting sick, you might also notice that there's a shift in your emotions, that maybe there's some, like a deepening happening. Maybe you're experiencing some sadness in ways that hasn't come up for you for a while, or maybe you are experiencing great joy and excitement in a way that hasn't come up for you in a while. Listen to that, because that is like another burst of energy. It's in either way, in the sadness, in that deepening, in that whole feeling place, or in the joy and the excitement, that slightly more energized place. And there's not a judgment there either. The sadness is also there to teach us something and to help us to listen to our hearts. So I come to you today because in my own life, we've been managing some deep emotions and transitions in our lives, as everyone seems to feel at this time of the year and at the time of the year where the seasons change. And we will feel this again because it happens every year, and it happens 4 times a year for us. If we can just recognize that that's what it is, that we're like growing into a new place, a new being, and this new place needs to have room for all of us, for our expansiveness, for our creativity and our abundance coming through. And pay attention to your dreams more closely at this time. It's not uncommon for folks who are feeling ill to have more heightened dream states. It's not uncommon for us to have more interrupted sleep, but the dream states are closer and we can feel them. And if you get an opportunity, you can write them down. And you don't have to try to make sense of them now, but maybe if there's any inspirations that come out of the dreams, any themes or strong feelings, or even not so strong feelings, or things that are curious to you, just write them down and you can go back later. That's the unseen world, the world of your allies and your spirit guides and your ancestors talking to you. And it's also a way to listen to your own body's wisdom about what is coming through, what's holding you back, ways to align yourself more closely with your life dream, with the dream of the earth. There's so many different ways to feel more alive in the world, and I think people are really craving that. I think folks are really craving adding something to the world that leaves an impression, and an impression that is unique to us. And that might just be ego, but I think it's also a way that one of the reasons why we're also unique and different. We have our very own special brand, our very own special print to leave with the world. And if you're not currently living where you feel like you're leaving an amazing, beautiful impression on the world, there are ways to learn what that is, and there are ways to walk in that every single day. And I think it's a little bit easier than folks make it out to be. For a long time, when I started on a conscious spiritual path, because we're always on a spiritual path, whether we recognize it or not. When I started on my intentional, conscious spiritual path, I thought, oh my God, there's all these different ways in which I see myself in the world and people see me in the world, and sort of primal urges that I had put a lot of judgment on. And what has come very recently through dreaming and working with my allies and ancestors is that the way in which we bring our gift to the world is purely in just being ourselves, doing the things that make us shine, doing the things that make us happy. It's not all, a day at the beach and easy work, but it doesn't have to be hard, and it does not have to feel like a sacrifice all the time. And in doing that a little bit more each day, do something slightly slightly different every day that aligns us with what we're passionate about, we notice that this feeling grows and grows, and pretty soon we look over our lives and say, oh wow, I'm doing a lot of things that I'm more passionate about, and it's easier to listen to the voice of wisdom that is within us. So just some thoughts for a Wednesday, and I hope that you are all well. And if you are feeling the shifts of the seasons that we are coming upon, I hope that you're able to really look within and sit in silence and stillness, and just feel your body and feel your cells, and allow yourself to just rest, because that is one of the other gifts about this shift and feeling the deep bodily feelings that we feel when we get sick. It really brings us home to our bodies. It makes us pay attention. And sometimes that looks like laying in bed for a long time in silence and sleeping. And I hope that you have the spaciousness and you can ask for the help to be able to do that, because that can feel like a luxury for some people. So, I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you have a wonderful, beautiful day wherever you are. Thanks.